My wife said, "We should get divorced while you still have your dignity." Then took off with a man I'd never met and bragged about it in a private group chat. I didn't confront her, just filed first, froze the accounts, and sent her lawyer a courtesy copy of the chat logs. 72 hours later, her entire strategy fell apart, and her lawyer was frantically calling me instead. I still remember her exact expression when she said it. Not angry, not sad, just bored. "We should get divorced while you still have your dignity." Sitting at our kitchen table on a Sunday morning, coffee cup halfway to her lips. Casual, like she'd suggested we try a new restaurant. 8 years of marriage, vaporized in 11 words. I asked the obvious, why? "Because we're different people," she replied, setting her mug down carefully on the coaster. "Because I want things you can't give me." She didn't elaborate on what those things were. Didn't need to. The notification that had popped up on her phone the previous night while she was in the shower told me everything. A message from someone saved as J with a black heart emoji. "Missing you already. Next weekend can't come soon enough." I'd never gone through her phone before. Never had reason to. But that night, something cold and certain settled in my stomach when she came home late from drinks with the girls, wearing perfume she hadn't put on that morning. When she left for her emergency meeting after dropping her divorce bombshell, I did what any IT security consultant would do. I backed up our home network data. Our router logs every device connection. Our shared cloud storage keeps deleted files for 30 days. Our home security system archives footage for 60 days. I'm not a jealous man by nature, never have been, but I am thorough. What I found wasn't surprising, just comprehensive. Location data showing her at a downtown hotel 6 times in the past month. Text threads with her friend Megan discussing Jay and how to handle the exit strategy. Calendar entries labeled lunch that aligned perfectly with her phone being at that same hotel. Most damning, a private Instagram group chat with 3 of her friends that synced to our shared family iPad. A device she'd apparently forgotten was logged into her account. For months, they'd been her personal cheer squad as she detailed her affair with Jay, a CrossFit instructor from her gym who was everything opposite of boring, predictable Mason. "He doesn't even suspect?" one friend asked. "Mason's too busy with his computer security stuff to notice anything," my wife replied, adding a laughing emoji. "Besides, we barely talk anymore. When we finalize the divorce, he'll probably just nod and go back to his spreadsheets." Another gem. "Jay says I can move in with him as soon as it's filed. His apartment is small, but we won't need much space, lol." And the kicker, sent just 3 days ago, "Strategy meeting with Diane tomorrow. She handled my cousin's divorce and destroyed her ex-husband. Mason has no idea what's coming." Diane, her college roommate. Now a divorce attorney known for aggressive tactics against high-earning spouses. I took screenshots of everything, downloaded all the data, then carefully restored her phone to exactly how I'd found it and replaced it on her nightstand. That night, she came home late again. Mentioned casually that she'd be visiting her sister the coming weekend. Her sister lives 3 states away. The location sharing on her phone that she never bothered to disable would undoubtedly show her at Jay's apartment instead. I nodded, said I hoped she'd have a good time, and went back to my laptop. The next morning, I called in a favor from Ben, a former client who happens to be one of the top divorce attorneys in the city. Explained the situation, sent him the evidence. "Jesus, Mason," he said after reviewing everything. "She's planning to blindside you next week." Diane's MO is filing for emergency support orders based on exaggerated claims. Usually works because the husband is caught completely off guard. "So what do we do?" I asked. "We file first, today. And we do it quietly, while my wife was at her noon yoga class at the downtown hotel, according to her location. I signed the papers in Ben's office. By 2 p.m. we had filed for divorce on grounds of adultery, with all the evidence neatly organized as exhibits. Then came the key move. Ben sent a professional courtesy email to Diane. Just 3 sentences. "I'm representing Mason Hayes in his divorce from Catherine Hayes. Attached is a copy of our filing from this afternoon. Also attached is a small sample of the documentation we've submitted regarding your client's extramarital activities." The small sample included screenshots of the group chat where Catherine had specifically mentioned Diane by name and discussed their strategy. That night, Catherine came home in a suspiciously good mood. Mentioned she'd be working late the next few days on a big project. I nodded, wished her success, and said I'd be busy with work myself. While she slept, I methodically secured our financial boundaries. I didn't drain accounts or make any dramatic moves that would violate legal standards. Instead, I removed her as an authorized user on my personal credit card, not our joint card. I also transferred my most recent paycheck, which hadn't yet been used for any household expenses, from our joint account to my personal account that predated our marriage. Then I changed the passwords on our investment accounts to prevent unexpected liquidations. All actions my lawyer confirmed were legal in our state given the circumstances. The next morning, after she left for work, I received a text from Ben. Diane just called, wants to discuss options before formal service. Interesting development. I smiled, continued my workday, and waited. Around noon, Catherine's text started. Did you do something with the Amex? It's not working. Why can't I access the Vanguard account? Mason, call me immediately. I responded only to the last one. In meetings all day? What's up? No reply. At 3:17 p.m. she called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was short, we need to talk, I'm coming home now. I texted back, I'll be working late tonight. Tomorrow works better. This gave me time to finalize my preparations. I packed a suitcase with essentials and moved it to my car. Set up automatic forwarding of important mail. Backed up all financial records. Then spent the night at a hotel, ignoring the barrage of increasingly frantic texts. The hammer fell the next morning when Catherine was formally served with the divorce papers at her office. According to the process server, she went white, then rushed outside to make a phone call. 30 minutes later, Ben called me. Diane wants to meet, says there's been a misunderstanding, and thinks we can resolve this amicably. What changed? I asked, already knowing the answer. Apparently, Diane wasn't aware of the comprehensive nature of your evidence. She's concerned about potential ethical issues, given the documented strategy discussions involving her. She's suggesting a quick, clean settlement. I thought about the years I'd invested in our marriage, the plans we'd made, the future I'd believed in. Tell her we'll meet tomorrow, no rush. Later that day, my phone exploded with calls, from Catherine, from numbers I didn't recognize, even from her mother. I answered none of them. Instead, I checked into a different hotel and ordered room service, slept better than I had in months. The meeting the next day was brief. Catherine wouldn't look at me. Diane was coldly professional. Ben presented our terms. 1. Fair division of assets based on contributions. 2. No alimony. 3. Clean break, minimal drama. 4. Preliminary agreement within 72 hours to establish intentions, with the understanding that final divorce processing would follow normal legal timelines. Your client gets to retain her dignity and professional reputation, Ben concluded. My client gets to move on without a protracted legal battle. Everyone wins. After a whispered conference, Diane nodded. We'll review and respond by tomorrow. Catherine finally spoke, voice brittle. Can we talk privately? I glanced at Ben, who shrugged slightly. There's nothing to discuss, I replied, gathering my things. The papers say everything necessary. Outside, Catherine caught up to me in the parking lot. You went through my phone? She demanded, voice shaking. No. You brought your affair into our home network, which I manage, into our cloud storage, which I set up. Everything was there without touching your phone. Those were private conversations. On devices and accounts I built, maintained, and paid for. I unlocked my car. Just like you've been sleeping with your trainer in a home secured by my income while planning to blindside me with a divorce. It wasn't, she started, then stopped. Jay isn't just my trainer. I know exactly who he is, I replied. The guy whose apartment is too small for all your things. The reason you wanted to handle the exit strategy carefully. The person you're discovering isn't answering your calls now that things have gotten complicated. Her face confirmed my suspicion. You said we should divorce while I still had my dignity, I continued, opening my car door. Thank you for that advice, I'm taking it. Within 48 hours, the settlement was signed. No alimony, fair asset division, clean break. That was 6 weeks ago. I've moved to a new apartment, changed my personal email, and returned to the gym, different one than hers. Haven't spoken to Catherine since that parking lot conversation. Through mutual friends, I've heard she didn't move in with Jay after all. Apparently, he's been giving her space to deal with her divorce. Translation: he wanted an affair, not a refugee. Last week, I received a handwritten letter from her, delivered to my office. I recognized her handwriting on the envelope. After considering it for a moment, I dropped it, unopened, into the shredder. Some stories don't need an epilogue. Update: 5 weeks later. Wasn't planning to post an update, but developments warrant one. First, thanks for all the supportive messages. The comments calling me cold or calculating made me laugh. When your spouse is plotting to blindside you with a divorce while sleeping with someone else, calculating is the appropriate response. Several people asked about Catherine's family's reaction. Her mother called me repeatedly that first week, leaving increasingly desperate voicemails about working things out and not throwing away 8 years. I finally answered one call and simply said, "Ask your daughter about Jay." The calls stopped immediately. Her younger brother, who I'd always been close with, reached out with a simple text. "I heard what happened. She's always been like this. Sorry, man. We got beers last week. He's still family to me, even if she isn't." The most interesting development: Diane, Catherine's lawyer, has been professionally impacted by this situation. Apparently, being documented pre-planning aggressive divorce strategies with someone who isn't yet your client raises some ethical questions. According to Ben, she's under review by the State Bar Association. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. As for Jay, the CrossFit instructor, Catherine's plan to move in with him evaporated the moment things got complicated. According to her brother, Jay claimed he needed space and was going through some personal stuff. 2 weeks after our divorce finalized, he was already seeing someone new at the gym. Catherine herself has been radiating regret through various channels. The handwritten letter I shredded was followed by a second, then emails, then messages through mutual friends. The tone evolved from angry, "You ambushed me," to defensive, "You don't know the whole story," to desperate, "Please just talk to me." I maintained no contact, not out of bitterness, but because there's simply nothing to say. Her latest approach was having a package delivered to my office containing mementos from our relationship, concert tickets we'd saved, photos from our early dating years, a watch I'd thought I'd lost during our move 3 years ago. The note attached: "I found these while packing. Thought you might want them back." I donated the watch to a charity auction, recycled the photos, and moved on with my day. Some asked if I've started dating again. Not yet. I'm focusing on rebuilding. New apartment, new gym routine, reconnecting with friends I drifted away from during the marriage. Considering a career move that would have been impossible with Catherine, who always prioritized staying near her family. The divorce settlement was finalized without complications. The evidence we compiled was so overwhelming that her side had no leverage whatsoever. In the end, it was simply a matter of dividing assets according to contribution. Did I ever confront her about the full extent of what I discovered? No. The filing spoke for itself. The comprehensive evidence package said everything needed. Words wouldn't have added anything but drama. For those wondering about red flags I missed, looking back, there were subtle shifts over time. Increased secrecy around her phone, sudden interest in fitness after years of hating the gym, new clothes I never saw her wear, weekend girls' trips where social media posts were carefully curated. Nothing glaring, just puzzle pieces I didn't connect until that notification lit up her phone. One comment suggested I handled things too perfectly, and this must be fake. When your job involves security and contingency planning, methodical responses come naturally. I didn't punch walls or key her car or create dramatic confrontations. I assessed the threat, gathered intelligence, consulted an expert, and executed a strategic response. Life isn't a movie. Sometimes the most effective action is simply protecting yourself quietly and walking away with your integrity intact. Edit: a few brief responses to common questions. Yes, we had a prenup. It was rendered largely irrelevant by the settlement agreement we reached, which she signed to avoid the public filing of evidence. No, there were no children involved, which simplified matters considerably. To those arguing I should have fought for the marriage, fight for what, exactly? A relationship where my wife was sleeping with someone else while planning to blindside me with a divorce? That's not a marriage worth salvaging. About the going through her phone accusations. I never touched her phone after that initial notification appeared. Everything I discovered came from our shared network, cloud storage, and location data that she never bothered to disable. Your digital footprint is larger than most people realize. For the person who asked if I ever suspected Jay specifically, yes, retrospectively. He had texted her multiple times during dinners, always explained away as work stuff or gym questions. She'd mention him casually, but too frequently. Classic signs I overlooked in real time. Final thought, several messages have asked what I learned from this experience. Simple, trust behaviors, not words. Catherine said she loved me, but her actions showed otherwise. I said nothing during those final days, but my actions ensured I'd exit with respect and security intact. In the end, what we do matters infinitely more than what we say.